Coming up on Look Today, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik spoke at the Warren County Economic Development Corporation breakfast in Queensbury, and we were there. Plus, there's a high interest in comedy acts in Glens Falls. I've got some details. And a follow-up on how the Lake George Carnival will move forward without ice. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm J. Hood Jackson, and this is Look Today. We've got a lot to cover. In tonight's program, I sit down with Spencer Montgomery from West Mountain. He's going to tell us what's new at the mountain. And we talk with the ladies from LARAC about big events upcoming in Glens Falls. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties. But first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik attended the Warren County Economic Development Corporation breakfast this morning in Queensbury. Many gathered at the Great Escape Lodge to hear from our Congresswoman and members of the Economic Development Corporation about the focus for 2016. We caught up with Ed Bartholomew. He's the president of the EDC, and he tells us why the breakfast is so important.
Today, Thursday, we'll be informed from both a professional point of view from what's going on in Washington with Congressman Stefanik, and from the business perspective with the president of the New York State Business Council, Heather Brachetti. This is part of our EDC outreach for Warren County. It's important that we continue to collaborate and work with our congressional individuals such as Congressman Stefanik and Senator Schumer and Gillibrand, as well as working closely with Heather Brachetti from the business community and labor as well.
Well, I don't think there's anyone who cares more about economic development in Warren County than Ed. Hey, well, we also caught up with Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, and she details the main points she spoke about at that breakfast.
I'm talking about how we can work at the federal, state, and local level to continue growing jobs and growing our economy. There are a number of issues that I've led on in Congress. One is the repeal of the medical device tax, which is so important to Warren County specifically. We've already heard, because of the 2-year suspension of the tax, that the medical device manufacturers locally will be reinvesting that into jobs. So that is a win for our district, and that's an issue that I've led on in Congress. I'm also going to be talking about the need for tax reform to overhaul the tax code, which is too long, too complicated. We need a flatter, fairer, simpler tax code, and we also need to reduce regulations to help small businesses grow.
Now, Elise Stefanik will be coming on Look TV. She's going to talk about those priorities and also announcing that she's running again for Congress. Well, changing from news to weather. Will our region be affected by that big snowstorm that's heading toward the East Coast? Let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For the latest, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast. Back to the news. Well, comedy is becoming a big ticket interest in Glens Falls. Comedian Paula Poundstone's show at the Charles R. Wood Theater in downtown Glens Falls in February sold out quickly. Now, due to the high demand for tickets, the theater has added a second show. Both shows will be on February 26, with one at 7 p.m. and one at 9 p.m. Now, the comedian is known for her HBO stand-up specials, multiple books, and TV show, The Paula Poundstone Show. Now, with acts planned for the Glens Falls Civic Center as well, comedy seems to be in high demand for our region. In other news, we have an update on the story yesterday on the lack of ice in Lake George. As we reported, the lake remains unfrozen, and the biggest cause of that are the high winds. Many residents are concerned as to how this will affect the upcoming annual Winter Carnival, which runs every weekend in February. Well, we caught up with Michael Consuelo. He is the executive director of the Lake George Chamber of Commerce. He tells us what the lack of ice means for the carnival.
We can only hope that within the next couple of weeks we get a blast of some real frigid cold air, that we can get some ice on it so we can perform some of the activities. But I do have reason to believe that the carnival will go on as planned, and I applaud the organizers for reaching out to see how we can maybe do some other things in and around the lake, especially if there's no ice.
Now, we also wanted to gauge the community reactions, so we spoke with Jackie Baker. She's an employee of Duffy's Tavern, and she speaks to us about how she's confident the carnival will be a great event, as always.
The committee always has a plan B. They're preparing Beach Road down the street and talking about maybe blocking off Canada Street for some events, and we'll just make do. I think it was about 3 years ago that the lake didn't freeze and Winter Carnival went on just as planned.
You know, she's right. It was about 3 years ago that the lake did not ice over, and it was one heck of a carnival. Well, still to come, we got an interview with Spencer Montgomery. He's an owner of West Mountain. We talk about what updates have been made to that ski center. Plus, I catch up with the ladies from Larac about their upcoming events in Glens Falls. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000.